In the world of Len, a great war between the continents of Evros and Elkesh is forcibly brought to an end by the Tempest, a cataclysmic storm that rages over the surrounding oceans. An uneasy peace has been solidified, but over the last 2 centuries a cold war has frozen the hearts of many. A group of adventurers calling themselves the Hydra have joined to thaw out the ice. Their mutual friend has been slain, and now their quest to solve an ages-old mystery truly begins. Blood is hotter than water, in a debt to a friend. A homebrew campaign.
I've spoken frequently about not being a very good role player and not really wanting to be involved as a result of that, but I feel I'm flexing those muscles for the last session of The Lost Man of Phandelver and this. So, I hope to show you how and why. The group calling themselves Hydra has been teleported into the Professor Volmak's office, following a dramatic battle with draconic abominations, as well as an aerial attack in the sky. And everyone seems quite panicked. They want to focus their thoughts, they want to think about what they want to do. I, for once, take some initiative. My character is conditioned not to be panicked, to let all her panic out in private, which I think she may do on a long rest. She may have a good long weep to herself, because it's getting it's getting a bit too much to bear. But she has to save face. I think that's the term I'm looking for. I get a feel of the room with a perception check of 13. There doesn't seem to be any panic or raised voices outside of the door. I see Drumeth out of the window, a very quiet city in this time of morning, with the red crests. I'm going to be doing that a lot, I do apologise. The red crests, the town's constabulary, patrolling proudly with their feathered plumage caps and berets and their finely kept arms and armour. Some citizens who are early risers are beginning their day as the first signs of smoke arise from chimneys as bakeries and forges begin to start up their fires. I roll a 90 perception to look into the distance of the raised building's window, because I imagined the Royal College of Mages, or like the Volmak's Tower rather, at the University of Drumeth, it would be like this, like Wizard's Tower, and it is a raised building, and I can sort of see off into the distance, but even with a 19 I find neither the crater that's about 300 miles out, nor smoke billowing from it. Off in the distance there are airborne objects, but they seem to resemble airships more than dragons. Rakanar is the first to admit that he's panicked, and I tell him to take a seat and clear his head, and I have Rigsby approach and to take his mind off what's happened as he pets him. And while Rakanar is now considered stable, I guess he is still. There's a lot going on in his mind. He's no longer shaking, but he's shaking. He is worried. Several members of the party also say as well that Rigsby is the group's therapist, which I quite like. I think that was sort of his intention in a way to boost morale. Cornelius is on the ground having a psychotic break, staring 1,000 miles, and Takavria, although worried, tries to clear his head and investigate where the portal was. In disbelief as well, unable to see any traces of magic or the portal where it was. He's uncharacteristically shaken by this as he stands sort of lowly, noticing that Cornelius isn't really there and that Rakanar is scared. Tak tries to grip Cornelius' shoulder, but he can't quite shake the problem out of him. Cornelius backs away as I try to cast Heroism on him, but it's a range of touch spell. And as I touch him and just say, "Up," he launches a bolt from his crossbow and he shoots the sofa. I think he would have hit me, but he only does a single point of piercing damage to the sofa. So as that's going on, I mend the sofa. Tack circles around to investigate, recapping what's happened. Rakanar is quite unsure of what happened, and he asks, "Which one of you opened the portal? Or was it all of you?" Tack responds by explaining that it was the dragon, and the professor may be the dragon. After all, why would the dragon apologize to me? Rakanar says, "But the professor would have told me, right? That's not the sort of thing that he would have kept secret." Rakanar comes to the rightful conclusion that if he did, you'd only be in more danger. Dragons are misunderstood creatures. So then he asks, "Well, where's the hammer? And what do we do?" I check the door, just to see if it is indeed locked, and it's inlaid with steel, and it is finely designed thick. And it's a finely designed thick oak door. To see if it's locked, and as I examine the door, I hear footsteps. It does appear to be open, though, at least openable. It's not locked, basically. I hear footsteps approaching the door, not rapidly, but at a quick pace. I tell the party, "There's someone coming. Get ready." And a chambermaid enters and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting guests. The professor's away, he's on expedition, he wouldn't be back for a few weeks." And so I said, "Yes, this is commissariat business. I'm sure you can understand if you would be just so kind as to leave us." I roll a deception. Oh, I didn't write it down, but I rolled a deception of 5. And I don't think she believed me, but in a way I like that this was like a sort of like task failed successfully. In that, like, she says, "Oh, I remember you. And oh, how small you were back in the day." She knows me from my days at the University of Drumeth and the College of Artifice, or the League of Artifice as I call it. And actually, yeah, college does work, or school, like schools of magic. I like the idea of a college of artifice. Moving on. So, sorry, I'm just trying to find out where I am now. So, yeah, so, she remembers me. So I lead her out and talk to her, and we have a private conversation. So if the group wants to sort of, like, gather information, now's the time to do so. And we talk with genuine enthusiasm. Really appreciative to see a friendly face from the days of the university. Probably not many of those, given Katusha's bad temper. Short temper, rather. So, as I'm doing this, Rakanar slaps himself hard enough that he snaps out of his state, leaving like finger imprints all over his cheeks. And Tack takes the endless decanter of water from Rigsby's saddlebags and uses its stream function to produce like a gallon of water, and precipitation to cool the water with an Arcana check of 18. Like, he knows that it's going to be like Nordic stream cold, as our DM described. So he cools Cornelius, and with the heroism and the state that he's in, his mind is clear at last. Cornelius thanks him for that was desperately needed. Tack calls me back by saying, "Commissar, you're needed." And I do appreciate as well that you call me Commissar. I think that's brilliant. Yeah, same as when like the DM calls me Cadet Commissar or just Cadet. I like that. Yeah. So Kyla Burnside, the chambermaid, says, "I'm afraid you can't stay very long, but I'm sure you're fine to look around just a little bit more. Would you like some tea?" And I decline. I say, "Thank you, but that won't be necessary. You go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day." So, I get back to business. I roll 17 and 19 investigation with assistance from the team to look through papers and documents. There's communications for aid from other people, but we don't recognise certain names. So, I wonder if our names will be in the in-person group. That'll be quite clever. Or I like things like that. Yeah. So there's places from all around the world to Ostergarth to even Braca. Which makes sense given Tack's answer to the call of duty, because I learn later, shortly into the session, that I actually recognise from Drumeth as a bouncer. So there's maps that point to the Temple of Volker. There's various folklore up to the summoning of the Tempest, seemingly note about Volmak believing that this could get into the wrong hands, and the spell being a disaster if things go terribly wrong. Tack considers rolling up the map, but it provides a little new information, but I take it all the same and put it into my map and scroll case, which I bought. So it's not just hanging around loosely. So that's good. I imagine I've done that with the other parchments that I own as well, but yeah, anyway. We talk about what to do next. The civilian populace and military are strictly and purposefully kept away from one another. So the commissariat can't really start going around houses and like knocking on doors for information and all that sort of stuff. You know, this is not the USSR. But I can speak to the Red Crests and just to provide a bit of assistance. This is sort of where I think things go horribly wrong, and I hadn't quite processed this until after the session, but we'll carry on. So I know there's a Grey City command post, and it's not too far away, which may be of use. So Tack feels he needs some guidance, because he's racked with guilt over his relations with the professor, so uncharacteristically, I'm like quite fine with taking initiative. I'm saying, right, we're going here, 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 and here. And like, I've actually sort of like got a plan of like all the places we're going and all that. And that's pretty good, yeah. So I could get used to this. I could get used to this, like having my own Gaunt's ghosts. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, lost causes. Moving on. So we consider our next move, and the crater is in the middle of the forest to the west. It would take days. It's about a good 300 miles. Now that's good for me, well that's good for the cadet, in that the message won't reach Ostergarth quickly. That the crater, which is probably not an unusual happening, even by Fantasyland standards, it's a good 3 days, 300 miles away. And hopefully that's slowed down travel. So for now, the people of the city aren't going to be too panicked. They don't know that this has happened yet. We could take an airship to look around. I've just noticed, I completely forgot about that. Like I was thinking, oh, airships before. I didn't realise they could actually investigate. We could actually maybe send an airship to look. But then again, is it too dense into the forest? And of course, airships probably are not really for like this sort of purpose. They're made for war, perhaps. Or maybe transport. Maybe it's not on the way. Who knows? I don't know, I'm thinking out loud. But it's not good for us if we want to investigate the site, especially if there's fires. Because if I want to use like the decanter of endless water to sort of put out fires, it's going to be a long, long time. But we didn't see any smoke, so that means surely we would see smoke from 300 miles away, maybe? Like if it was like a forest fire? I don't know. Yeah, oh god, I'm worrying myself. So, we decide our next move. So first of all, I'm going to go to the outpost, and then we may go to the forest. Cornelius makes a note of putting his hood up, and Rackenauer whistles for Nero, and is told you can whistle to your heart's content. Making our way out of Volmak's office and avoiding eye contact with too many people, we make our first steps into the city of Drumeth. It's morning. People are milling about, going about their daily business, and no one pays us any mind, really. There's no trouble, and certainly no panic. The city is well enforced. As we make our way down one of the highways, we come across the Grey City Command Post, and do forgive me if I've not quite written that down very well. A local police station. It's decently built, it's made of granite and features the signature red tile at sort of atop these buildings. As I make my way in, I see various officers with very distinctive red berets with flemmer pluming, going about their business. Some of them are drinking tea, going about the initial paperwork for the day, as some guardsmen are going out on patrol. A reception area awaits us, and I cough politely into my fist. The receptionist sort of looks over the desk and doesn't quite see me, and as this is going on, Cornelia sits outside and just says, "Friends, I need to go and speak with Millie. This has been a troubling time, and I need to connect with him. I'm sure you understand. I'll meet you back here in an hour or so. I'll meet you back here on these steps." And he proceeds to go. I then cough flying into my fist again, and an officer who has their headgear down by their side scribbles with a quill and open part, and he looks over again, and he says, "Oh, good morning, Cadet Commissar. How can I help you?" And I explain what I can. I explain that I have a matter of national importance. I'm afraid I can't really speak about it in the open. Is there any chance I could speak to your Commander-in-Chief? I said, "Well, yes, Captain Jensen ought to see you." And so, and I shouldn't have done this. I got way in over my head about this. I shouldn't have asked this, because, like, I'll explain. I'm about to say it's what my character would do. Oh, this is official business, only officials only, where only myself and the captain could talk about this matter. I'm forgetting that civilians they may be, in terms of like Rakanar and Takavria Taknix, they are still adventurers. They are still party members, and they are also, in terms of character and world and lore, eyewitnesses to something that happened. The thing that I'm going there to talk about. And not to mention as well, they are players. And they were sat around for a good while just waiting for me to do my RP. And when I RP, I really go around the houses. I try to fit every single thing in, because I can't talk coherently. It's my condition, I can't do it. I'm not very good at it. So, I really struggle with that. So I apologise to the group for that. That wasn't right. I should have invited them in. And at Fort Hislop, I will hope that if they can't come with me, I would say I can't see why, but actually I could. I would hope that I can perhaps give them some direction. Like, Cornelius, the men here need their spirits bolstering, and Tagavrea, I'm sure you would like to inspect the kingdom's arms, and Rakanar, I'm sure there's someone foolish enough to challenge you to an arm wrestling competition or mud wrestling or something. So, but if not, come on in. Come on in to Fort Hislop and talk to General Huxley or whoever I'm going to be speaking to. More on that soon. So, we go in to see Captain Jansen's office, and good God. And as as I'm doing this, the party's outside, and they're sort of smelling the deliveries of bread and baked goods going by, and noticing as well that they haven't eaten in quite a while, like even since before they were on the road. So so they're gonna have to find somewhere, maybe a bakery. Again, more on that soon. I enter the captain's office for this particular precinct, and it's pristinely kept, and with a well-built man sat behind a rather beauteous desk. I'm a sucker for a nice desk. And he's clearly not as fit as he used to be, having been kept behind his desk to do paperwork rather than actually being on the beat. On the wall is a shield with the red crest, and a truncheon and short sword crossing it. And he says, "What do you have for me, Jasper?" asks the captain. And Jasper says, "This is something quite interesting." There's a smile, and I'll leave you to it. And he shuts the door. And he says, "Hello there, Cadet Commissar. I'm Captain Jensen of this precinct. How may I help you?" I tell him about a matter of national importance, and I try to see how he feels about this. With a perception roll of 12, I find that he raises his eyebrows a few millimeters, but otherwise unsure. I tell him about the crater and the dragons, and I roll a 21% persuasion afterwards. I omit certain details about a party of adventurers being involved. I omit the portal that we simply just made our way here. He doesn't seem to appear the story or the details. He says, "Look, Cadet, metallic dragons, craters, abominations. You must admit this is rather fantastical. That I might believe you, but how many others are? But he does believe my status. I would not have been chosen for the commissariat if I were a liar. He'll send out a message to Lionhall Fort. He calls in Jasper, or one of the guards outside the room. And he says to the guard Lister. Oh yes, he says to the guard Lister, "I've got a message to Lionhall Fort, one of the watchtowers bordering Ostergarth and the Free States. Not far from Littlewater." And he says to Lister, "I've got a message for the fort. Ask for an investigator to look at the road, 30 miles from the logging camp." And so Lister goes, "Yes, sir," and shuts the door behind him, and sends for one of the sages. And he says, yes, I salute, leave, and he calls back, "I hope you're wrong about this, Cadet. I'm behind on paperwork as it is. And I hope that I'm wrong about this too." I regroup, and I am asked of how it went, and I explain, again, omitting some of the details, and again, saying that I omitted some details, and I was asked, who else can we tell? Now, we could go through all of the command posts and Redcrest of here, if needs be, but I am told, rather helpfully by Captain Jensen, and this is the thing, whenever I get involved in roleplay or combat, I tend to forget to type up a lot of notes because I'm focused on speaking, and especially in a situation where I'm holding up other people, I don't want to do that. I do thank everyone for their patience as well with me. He did say that you may want to report this to someone up the chain. It's with the commissariat. So that's my next hint. So that takes us to Fort Hislop, where just about everyone wants to go as well to get arms and armour and such, if possible. So, before I move on to the party's next move, again, really nice, and I wish I'd got a bit more involved, but I was RP'd out, I think, at this point. I will say, a bit of speculation for Fort Hislop. Sorry, I'm getting a bit excited. If we go to Fort Hislop, I sense that this can go one of two ways. It may perhaps even go both. If I go to Fort Hislop and explain there's a crater and I'm correct about the crater being there, that the report comes back, actually there is a crater, well, we've had reports because we have Gestapo or whatever, you know, just like actually investigating. We have secret police wandering around. I don't know. I think the commissariat's more like military police at most when it comes to like the sort of investigative side. I must speak to my DM about things like that, just so I can have a reminder. If we go to if we go to Fort Hislop and I'm correct about the crater, we may be emboldened, and I might even be able to, you know, just persuade the general that, of course, I couldn't have done this. I would have been dead had it not been for these adventurers who were following me. But if we're going to put an end to this threat, investigate it further, we're going to need better arms and armor. Wouldn't you agree, General? Or whoever I'm speaking to. However, if this goes wrong, terribly, terribly wrong, if I was wrong about the crater existing, if this was just some sort of bad trip, the crater isn't there, the commissariat is going to be humiliated. And I've got a feeling that they have very, very subtle, or maybe even not so subtle ways of dealing with humiliation. To borrow from a scene from Sharp that I put into a video recently.
If I wipe the name, I may wipe the shame.
Or maybe I can twist that to my advantage. Maybe the crater isn't there. Let's presume for a moment that the crater isn't there. That all of this is wrong. That the commissariat has been made a laughingstock. That the commissar cadet is now the least favourable, least respected even amongst her peers cadet. Maybe the Lost Cows can be a household name. That she won't like it to begin with, but if she can turn the Hydra into Lost Cows as Lost Causes, if she can make a legend for herself, she might appreciate this adventuring lark a lot more. But if she actually survives this, she can adopt the name. There could be some roleplay potential in the idea that she has to redeem herself. She has to prove that she's serious despite her impish smile and her age. She's only about, like, 23, I think. She's far too young. She's just a glorified toy maker. Maybe she could turn that around. She won't like it to begin with. She'll hate it. She'll hate the fact that she has made the Queen's own commissariat a laughingstock. That she spread rumours that aren't true. That she has diverted the efforts of the Queen's own Red Crests. That's not good. Maybe she can redeem herself. Or maybe, who knows, I don't know, cadetship is removed. She's stripped of it, then she's on latrine duty for 3 seconds, and I roll up a Garrett temporarily. Or permanently, I don't know. I don't mind. Because we're finally going to see Fort Hislop. And, yeah. Maybe the cadet has to do something drastic to ensure that she saves the world and clears her name. I hope that it won't have to come to that worst case scenario, in a manner of speaking. The cadet hopes that it does, because the commissariat, if it was just a bad trip, she can live with that. Dragons! Ah, thank goodness for that. I've ruined the name of the commissariat, and I will work on improving it, but for now, the people and her Royal Highness are safe. But if she is right about the crater, if the reports from Lionhall Fort do come back true, she's got a lot to worry about. We might not find out in 2 weeks' time. We might find out in a few days' time, depending on who's available and all that. I don't think that we're going to be playing again this week, though, because DM's rather busy. We're all practically rather busy and unable to commit to certain days and times, time zone differences and real-life responsibilities. So, yeah, but that's okay. But we'll see. We'll see. That was just some speculation on my end. We'll see how this goes. Oh boy, I'm nervous. 2 weeks is a long time to wait to find out. Oh dear. But I'm looking forward to finding out. Anyway. So the party regroups. And we're going to get something to eat. Having smelt the baked goods wafting through the air, we go to a bakery. As we march along the streets, things are getting busy now. People are going about their daily business. As we skirt across the cobbled streets and markets, we make our way to the top of Castle Street, made of cobblestone and polished marble, laid in such a way to create a repeating geometric pattern. And I know of a good bakery, even if it's not one I particularly want to go to. And I had to have our DM say this a number of times and type it up, because it was so good, I had to get it right. I'm gonna savour this. I can't say properly because I'm just grinning ear to ear. The Bread Knots and Boomsticks Bakery.
Fine, that's enough of that.
Now, originally I thought it was a Breadnought, as in like Dreadnought ship.
I shall reduce it to pulp.
Breadnoughts and Boomsticks. Good lord. I reviewed a game called Bullet Witch, and I used the sort of subheader of bed knobs and boomsticks. But this takes the cake. It runs with it. It's glorious. Like, I hadn't even thought of a name for the bakery. That's normally my sort of thing, and I'm like, this is brilliant. And it's not fair that it's so good. Like, this is wasted on my character's backstory. It really is. Like, this needs to be in every game, a version of the game that the DM does. They should seriously also consider being a chef, with the amount of effort they put into the smells of a place. As we enter the Bread Knots and Boomsticks Bakery, we smell vanilla and cinnamon, as well as turmeric for savoury baked goods. I apologise if I mispronounced that. The counter is filled with goods, as I remember swinging my legs off the top as I sat upon it when I was little. And coming from the back of the store is a small rock gnome who makes her way through Babushka! The dumplings are here! Says my mother. Ivo, my long-suffering father and husband to Kaboomshka. Baboomshka. I don't know which one it was. Says, the dumplings are in the oven! Why are they out? And, dumplings are supposed to go in oven, not on counter! And my mother, my dearest mother, says, not the dumplings, our dumplings! And I'm knocked over by my mother and father as they bring me down the embrace, and I was tempted to choose to fail this anyway, but no, I rolled 2 strength, and I'm just floored instantly. Like, no hesitation from the DM, you're just dead on the ground. And my mother asks, why are you here? It's not public holiday. Why are you not training? And I explain what's happened. Omitting a lot of the more active details. I say, well, I'm here on a, on a task for the professor, and so they say, okay, fine, and they ask who my friends are. Cornelius says he's charmed as he takes the rock-gnome woman's hand and kisses it, and rolls a 19 charisma, say, to make her feel giddy. Many jokes about being a stepfather and getting that brother that you always wanted. Rakanar says, I am Rakanar, but you may call me Rakanar. And they're pleased to meet one another. And Tak introduces himself to Ivo, who is a lot less busy with the introductions. As I get up, I smell a waft of pepper, which worries me slightly, but so far it's not gunpowder, one of my mother's not-so-secret ingredients. As if my worst fear is realised, my mother Baboomshka rushes out to bring back a burnt cake, which has a D in it. Now, I'm not overly familiar with, you wouldn't believe, right, that a guy as fat as me would not be overly familiar with cake. But I'm not familiar with burnt cake. So, yeah. So, it's apparently a cinnamon, a big cinnamon swirl filled with, filled and glazed with honey and toffee, with milk chocolate on the top. With, a milk chocolate square on the top, like an after 8. And he takes a bite, and as he does, I tell everyone to just stand back, and try not to look shocked. Like, I had imagined in my mind's eye that if we did go to the bakery, I was snatch it out of his hand and say, "Yes, thank you, mother, but we need this for the road. We don't want to starve." And she just carefully wraps it up and places it into a pack, and he enjoys it. He gains 6 temporary hit points. It does not explode in his mouth. And Cornelius says, Cadet Commissar Loskhaus, I didn't know your mother was such a fine baker. And Ivo sets the table as Babushka is you. And Ivo sets up a table offering salty date cakes with a nutty aftertaste. God. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Just now, was it actually described like this, or is this some sort of Freudian episode I'm having? And a savoury pie. The customers jealously eye up our breakfast as they begin to enter, and they're saying, "Oh, we'll have some of that," and whatever they're having, I want that. And so the two start serving the customers. I currently assess why I chose to take a different path, and I sort of meander around the question, I don't actually quite know really. I just say it was just to get away from my parents, and Cornelius says, understandable. Yeah, I sort of out of the parents that sort of influenced me the most, it was my father's tinkering and toy making and locksmithing and all that sort of stuff that he's dabbled in over the years. Well, my mother's always sort of been like a baker, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't work on your backstory, by the way, guys. You end up like with loads of questions like, oh, I wish I had an answer for that. You know, like, no, I'm fine with that. I'm not having backstory acted upon. It's like, holy shit, I love having backstory acted upon. This is amazing. So, we discuss our next moves over the food, and as we do, I ask if there's any gunpowder in the food, and I start sniffing over the food. Like, I'm actually like getting on the desk now, on the table now, so I'm just sniffing around just to see if there's any gunpowder. But there's some charring, which seemed a bit worrying. But no, thankfully, it's not gunpowder. We also don't eat any of the boomsticks. So the moves that we want to make are that Cornelius wants to go somewhere where he can get Malil-related artifacts. We may go to the general store, Fort Hislop, and then the Royal College of Magics. Tak wants to go just have a wander to clear his head. Rakanar goes to look for potions, and I look for somewhere that does scrap. I must as well add, I deduct a single gold piece just for ease of sake of ease to create goggles. So I think I can do that on like a long rest, because it's like crafting rules are a bit, I mean, they're like, ignoring the fact they're just cack for a moment. I think because there is no gold cost, you can either create it, well, not instantly, but probably over like the cost of a long rest or something like that. I could do it over time, I don't mind. I'd probably have to, but I wanted rose-tinted goggles, but I'd have to go somewhere specifically for that. So I think maybe when we come to another sort of trading post, maybe the Free States, I might actually look for some rose-tinted goggles, because I've got an idea for an Artificer Infusion for Cornelius again. Yeah, like rose-tinted goggles, because I actually looked up like what colour is associated with Melee, and it just so happens to be that, well, one of his favourite plants is roses. Now, I as Katusha don't know that. But it just so happens to be just the colour that I would like, because, you know, the phrase rose tinted goggles, you know, looking at things nostalgically. So anyway, we decide that we leave and we exchange our best stables. I've made about 3 mistakes like this. Like I'm like Jimmy 2 times, or whatever his name was from Godfather. I have put things like here I've put like more stable recipe, more stable. This is what happens when you try to write the notes extensively. I never used to write notes extensively, but they make much better session recaps, so I do so. So you'll have to figure my minor errors throughout. We exchange our best wishes, I think it was, the best smiles, I think it was, and just say thank you for the food. My mother gives me some boomsticks, telling me it's an improved recipe. My father, Ivo, mutters more stable recipe, more like. And so we move. Cornelius goes down to the DM's lair, a private chat channel, and he rolls Perception 19 out of the blue. Ooh! I've put that in the notes. Ooh! So Rakanar works as a bouncer in Drumeth, so he sort of knows the streets fairly well. He comes across a potion shop. He comes across more potion shops than he does apothecaries. Finding Delilah and Bubbling. If there is a pun there, I don't quite get it, I'm afraid. Delilah and Bubbling. I was trying to sit and figure it out. Like, is there some sort of, is there a joke here that Delilah and Bubbling? No, sorry, it's not coming to me. It's a pretty shoddy shop with a thatched roof, which gives the worrying feeling that there was an explosion fairly recently. It's a clutch shop that makes Rakanar wonder if my mother gets her ingredients from here. From the shop is Delilah Croft, asking what she can do with him. Excuse me, what she can do for him. I'm sure that was also a question running through her mind. And he's looking for some potions, and she says, yes, but we have some specials available. I call it my Ichor of Cure-All. The label is in Draconic, that's slapped across a cloudy bottle with dirty liquid within, smoke roiling inside, and she explains that it cures anything that ails you. Rackenau rolls 15 insight to find out that she's genuinely trying to make a sale, but can't figure it out, and like this is one of the few insight checks that we've actually made throughout the campaign. The cure-all costs 10 gold, which is apparently a bargain, and Rackenau wants just regular healing potions in general. Her shoulders sag in disappointment. 50 gold. He wants 2 potions of healing for 40 gold pieces and a cure-all for 10. And with 13 persuasion, she says, it'll be 95 gold for the lot then. Spry, she runs back to the counter, taking her gold into a safe compartment, and then yells, "No refund!" As Rackenau runs out of the shop worried about this strange woman. Yeah, this reminds me of like the black powder merchant in Vox Machinas campaign 1. Yeah, I like this woman. I think like this is. I think this tops Gregorius Glorious goods. I might just stop here just to make conversation, to be honest. In fact, I might be able to get some spell components from there, because I have the spell Heat Metal, and for that, I might need something a bit volatile, like Thermite. Better just drop a Thermite. I might have to see what these boomsticks do. Use those as like spell components, maybe. Just jam a bread roll into someone, it disintegrates and burns through their armor. We'll see. Tak wanders through the streets, everything he thought he knew being completely wrong as he tries to gather his thoughts. He rolls a charisma check of 22, and which is 18 plus 4, and he doesn't quite understand why he's in this spot, but he's in front of a small blacksmith and hears a voice. Forge! Like a creaking door. Like, Forge! No, maybe not that much. There's also the flutter of wings. Raven's wings. As it snaps him out of his stupor. He turns his head and sees the direction where the ravens are going. He chooses to ignore the flapping of wings and instead steps towards them. As he begins to make his way, the beating of wings gets quieter and quieter as a sense of foreboding comes over him. As if maybe he's done something wrong. The heat of the forge comforts him as he's very familiar with it. He's not been in a blacksmith's shop since he left Racket. He sees one of the anvils and takes his warhammer, and he hears in the back of the forge a dwarf mentioning renting the anvil. He removes 30 gold pieces from his personal funds absent-mindedly as he starts smashing metal straight from the forge onto the anvil into a shape for a good while. And as he puts it in the water to quench and he pulls it out, he's unsure of what he's built, but it's a small circular disc. He's not sure what it is exactly, but he knows that it will interlock with other segments if they exist or require forging. He blinks, returning to his senses, and finds someone stumbling out of an alley. Cornelius, with several figures advancing towards him. We roll initiative. One of the thugs rolls a 21, Rackenau rolls a natural 20 plus 3. I was like, I think the first to roll, I was like, oh yeah, I got 20! And everyone else, other people rolled better. God damn it! But the dice tell the story, don't they? And yeah, with all the fifth level, with all the the second level spells I get now, it's like, hard to choose. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, I've got the spell Vortex Warp. I think I need to come up with a little device that can teleport people, like in Gmod. Anyway, yeah. So Rackenau with a nat 20 plus 3. Myself, Rigsby rolled 20. Attack Freya rolls 13. Cornelius rolls, I put here 12.9 because he came after initiative with 13. The thugs roll 12, 12, and the remainder of the thugs roll 12, 12, and 9. I think one of them was a bandit captain, though, but I couldn't quite figure out which initiative he was. But we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, so the thugs start moving people out of the way, just shoving them as, and also as well, people start moving away now that they see the altercation beginning. They don't want to get in the way of a gangland confrontation, so they evacuate the streets. One thug uses a mace to try and knock out and drag Cornelius into the alley with an 11. He's cracked around the back of the head as he takes damage, and he moves over a second attack. I use my turn to take out my signal whistle. Oh, sorry, I should just I'll explain that. Although Rakan hasn't taken his turn yet, he isn't quite here. I've only just entered the streets, so two of us aren't really quite in the combat to begin with. But I'm seeing this going on, and I take out my signal whistle, I mount Rigsby, and I blow on the whistle for the constabulary, just trying to alert anyone near us. Rigsby charges ahead to Cornelius. Tack, seeing the cacophony, says, "Oh, you daft bastard," which is a very sharp moment, which I should be saying, "Up, you lazy bastard!" He goes for one of the thugs, rolling 22 to hit him with his hammer and dealing 12 points of damage into the gangster. Crackling energy emits from his eyes as he brings the warhammer down, and casting Shield of Faith upon himself, he boosts his AC by 2, which unfortunately doesn't really do a whole lot because the DM rolled incredibly well. Then again, we've had pretty good rolls in like the Lost Man game as well, so this seems to be our weekend. Cornelius recovers from the blow to roll and yells, "You scoundrel!" as he casts Dissonant Whispers at 3rd level on the thug at the rear, requiring 15 wisdom. The thug is wise, however, as he rolls 16 to save versus this spell. I think it was this one that had just like a loads of spell text that like took up the entire chat box. The thug still takes 7 points of psychic damage all the same as he winces in pain. Cornelius then follows up with a bardic inspiration on Tack, calling upon his paladin abilities, bolstering his faith in the Raven Queen rather than just his eldritch patron. Thaco? No, that's something else. That's from AD&D 2nd edition. Tack's thugs move and strike at Cornelius, dealing 13 points of bludgeoning damage. The second attack swings at Tack and rolls a 23 that hits, slamming the mace toward him and deals damage. Another thug tries to use his heavy crossbow to hit the scary-looking Dragon Ball with a 21, and I think he hits with that. Because I think Tack's AC is now 20 with Shield of Faith. The leader moves to strike Cornelius, rolling 23 to hit, and he takes 8 points of slashing damage. He moves to me, hearing the shrill whistle, and strikes at me. He swipes for 5 points of damage, 5 points of slashing damage, and he does an attack with his dagger for 5 damage. He yells out as a villain action, which is new to me. I think that's a Matt Colville thing, I'm not sure. It sounds really cool anyway. To kill him quick! And now the thugs are inspired. I think the villain actions can actually be used at any point in combat, in between players' turns. I'm not sure. That's just based on my notes anyway. Obviously it's very hard to try and get all this down as quickly as possible. In the second round of combat, Rakanar ponders, did I get ripped off? I don't think I got ripped off. I hope I didn't get ripped off. And he makes his way to the rendezvous point, but he hears a commotion. A commotion, as I wrote here. Good God, seeing Tack. And he dashes, seeing the combat. A thug, assessing the situation, decides to move and hit the half-orc, joining the party. Cornelius misses with an unarmed strike, just swinging with his fist as he's trying to just take an attack of opportunity. One of the thugs tries to hit Rakanar for 3 points of damage, but the second attack is followed up by 6 points of bludgeoning damage from the mace, thwacking into his side. I roll 14 to miss, but 23 hits and does 9 damage as I crack the leader around the arm with my +1 club. I also cast the Reflavored Sanctuary, misdirect on Cornelius as I blow my whistle, just galloping around atop Rigsby. Tak shatters. He uses an ability called Shatter to, on the furthest thug away, marking off a charge to do 3d8 thunder damage versus Constitution. He rolls 13 points of damage to one of the enemies as a bolt of sonic energy launches out as waves of thunder roil through the alley. Cornelius disengages using a second level healing word upon attack. He receives the maximum of 12 hit points restored. The thug south of Tak advances in a single space, striking him with his club, and he uses pack tactics to up his 9 with advantage to 10, but he misses. His multi-attack strikes true, causing him 3 points of bludgeoning damage. He rolls Constitution to maintain concentration on the Shield of Faith successfully. The southernmost thug advances slowly towards Rakanar, swinging twice with his mace, and he hits with a 20, causing Rakanar 8 points of bludgeoning damage. The second strike gets advantage due to Pat Tactics, bumping it up to 17. He causes 3 further points of bludgeoning damage. The what's called the Captain, I believe a bandit captain, attacks Rakanar with a dirty 21, causing damage with his scimitar. He does one more attack, causing 8 damage, as he turns to me, pulls out his dagger and slams me for 5 damage. 5 damage. So it swings once, swings twice, pulls out a knife from his boot and just jabs with it. In the third round of combat, which was almost the final one, Rakanar strikes for 21 and dealing 8 damage total to one of the thugs. The thug next to Rakanar strikes missing. As a villain action, the captain says, "Don't let that." Oh, I can't say that on YouTube. Even that would get me a very spicy word, should we say? Not so spicy in Scotland, I don't think, or Australia. To get away to Cornelius. Don't let that rotter get away, as we red-blooded Englishmen would say. or just people who live in the Beano, which I used to for a good few years.
Stop! I can't stand it!
24 to do 7 and 8 damage respectively. Commanding Rigsby to make an attack, 22 against the captain, dealing 4 damage. Tak uses his fire breath weapon to deal 10 damage, with one of the thugs blown away in the fiery stream of his draconic breath attack. The other takes less damage by simply shrugging it off, but the other, however, is engulfed in this flame and is launched back against the window. That's a thought, actually. I must remember to check if any buildings are on fire. I don't think fire breath weapons, as written, ignite things. Fireball does, if it's not ignites anything that's flammable. But I don't think fire breath weapon does. I don't know. We'll see anyway. If oh god, I hope the house is not on fire. Maybe I do because of the decanter, but it's going to cost a fortune, and I haven't really spent much gold yet, so that's probably going to come out of my pocket just to say, look, on behalf of the commissariat, we apologise. Please take this money and get it repaired. It's probably going to cost a lot more than I've got. So on top of humiliating the commissariat, I've also basically bankrupted them with the amount of damage that Tak's flame weapons done. Good god. Anyway, so Tak gets a... so Tak rolls an intimidation to get the folks to flee with a 14+2 from Bardic Inspiration. Nice. So Cornelius uses Phantasmal Force on the captain. Intelligence 15 save versus being caught up in an illusion. He rolls 16. He uses a Bardic Inspiration to Rakanar. He says, "Kill these hoodlums" to Rakanar. As a villain action, the captain says, "Alright, pull back, the Sewer King will hear of this." Ooh, Sewer King! I love sewer levels! They flee, disengaging. By the way, that wasn't sarcasm. I know the sewer levels aren't really popular. I love a good sewer level. I had another channel where I did a major write-up in the defense of sewer levels. And it's like the reason why they're so bad in video games is just because developers don't do anything with them. But our DM's running of Something's Rotten in the City-State of Densmarsh kind of proves that they know what they're doing. So, yeah. Alright, on to the fourth and final round of combat. Rakanar tries to grapple one of the thugs with advantage. 12 and 16 with advantage versus theirs, which is 16. And they roll again, and Rak wins with 12. I think the thug rolled 11, I'm not sure. He tries to break the grapple, and he rolls versus 9 strength successfully. He flees, but he can't disengage. Rakanar, and I'm wincing at this, I thought, oh shit, he's got his great axe. He rolls an 18 to hit, and he kills him by slicing off his leg. I'm hoping I can maybe stabilize this guy, because I need someone to interrogate. Rigsby gives chase for to a thug, grappling him with 19 successfully, because Rakanar and Rigsby have a movement speed of 40 feet. Which is exactly how I imagined this sort of scenario. It's like, oh, there's thugs, like, we can give chase in an urban environment, like our urban bounty hunter. Woohoo! Yeah, that suits me. That's grand. So Rigsby gives chase and grapples him with a 19 successfully by leaping over a wall. I think that might not be here yet. I don't know yet. But anyway, like, okay, let's say we just leap over a wall. Yep, and make it over just fine. So, yeah, so, oh no, this is before then, I do apologise. So, Rakanar gives chase to a thug, grappling successfully for 19. Tak goes into a store, searching for one of the thugs to run through, readying an Eldritch Blast as soon as he pops his head up. Cornelius dashes towards my position. Tak uses his Eldritch Blast, rolling a nat 1 to hit, exploding some of the produce of the shop. Oh no, it's going to cost even more! My thug rolls a 16 to escape the grapple, running further down the alley. He triggers an attack of opportunity, which I hit for 27! Like, my dude was astonished, like, wait, where's that +8 come from? And it's like, artifice something. It's like, yeah, but like when you get like magic items, you get to use your intelligence modifier. And I think it's added like a proficiency bonus or something else. Yeah, the +1 from the club. I think that's about right. Yeah, +4, +3, +1 for the club. Yeah, 8. Hey, I did maths. Right. So I hit for 27. That's the highest damage. That's the highest hit roll I've ever done. But I do the minimum damage of 6. So, anyway, so the captain has ran into one of the shops, and he leaps out of the windows and disappears. Rigsby goes forth to grapple again, but he rolls a 19. My club, however, hits for 18 and does 6 damage again. Tak searches the room for 16 perception, finding guards approaching where the fight happened and where the thug has run off to, and he's no longer in sight. Cornelius moves ahead and removes the crossbow to take aim. The final thug disappears, and we're out of combat. As the combat ends, the Red Crests finally arrive, seeing the commotion, and a lieutenant, followed by I think about like 9 guards, is approached. Tak's approached by a lieutenant and asks what is going on. He mentions that a friend was attacked by the thugs of the Sewer King, and there was an altercation. And with a 17 persuasion, they believe him. Damn, not again! Right, you 3 go that way. You 3 go that way. We'll go this way. And they continue hunting for them. And our session ends almost half an hour before we normally would, because Cornelius' player had to attend something at a hard stop. And unfortunately, like my sort of giving chase as well, I will take blame for this. Because of my giving chase, I sort of extended the session for longer than it should have gone, really, for him. So I do apologise, Cornelius' player, for that. So, to sum up, now, to wrap up the session, rather, Tak stops, at long last, the adrenaline slowly coursing out of him. We're confused, dazed, and angered by this brazen criminal act that's taken place upon us. Some of us now feel that we may be marked. Some of us feel maybe, just maybe, we may have an enemy in Drumeth. The Prof told us of 4 places of power that we still need to visit. I want to tell my superiors of the full extent of the danger. But as all that's going on, those mysterious draconic figures can't be that much further behind us all. And that is where the session ends. So thank you ever so much for watching, and as well thank you to the DM and players for running such a fantastic game. I feel emboldened now as a role player. I think it's because I've waited so long and I've sort of had time to plan and all this sort of thing. And it's not because of things like COVID for once. You know, it's like I've missed. I was so worried about missing like the early sessions of Lost Man of Phandelver, and indeed I have actually missed sessions of this. It's because I've been so looking forward to it, but due to time commitments and whatnot, I wasn't able to attend. So it's it's actually nice to sort of see the appeal of roleplay and doing stuff with backstory, and no longer being like upset by doing roleplay as I mentioned in my previous Lost Man of Phandelver video. Well, like sessions 22 and 23, I think it was. Because like I don't like the spotlight on me. I think I'm getting used to sort of like taking initiative if other people don't have any ideas, and that's fine, especially when like the group is new to D&D, 5th edition at least, and we no longer have like the professor's guidance. But yeah, I hope that these session recaps are at least proving helpful, so that if people do need to think of like where to go next, they can maybe pick up something that I may have made a point of mentioning, or just absently minded mentioned, like, oh yeah, we've also got the 4 places of power, we can go to the Royal College of Magics for that. So I think that's going to be one of the major steps that we go and investigate, at least. I think that will be the next session. I don't think Fort Hislop's going to take up the entire day. So what we might do is we might go to Fort Hislop, stay there, go to the Royal College of Magics, and maybe even investigate a bit further with the Sewer King's enemies. We may have to focus on that first. If we can deal with that, we can perhaps earn ourselves some good favour. Perhaps even, if things go terribly, terribly wrong with the Commissariat, maybe even get myself in good graces with them again by dealing with the Sewer King and their minions. But otherwise, yeah, whatever happens, I look forward to it. I've been eager to play again. So, yeah, looking forward to the next session. Thank you ever so much all for watching once again. And thank you as well to the group for all your patience with me. As well the DM for as well making my, I think my first real effort with roleplay. A phenomenal and memorable experience. Yeah, I hope to be able to contribute as much as I did, although perhaps not at the detriment of other players in future. So yeah, so thank you for watching, take care, and ta for now. Oh no, that was my right hand. Left hand. There you go. Right, ta for now.